This podcast is for general informational purposes and entertainment only and should not be considered medical advice. Dr. Ashley is not responsible or liable for any advice, course of treatment, or other information you obtain through this podcast, and neither am I. So if you have any real problems, go see a doctor in person.
This is The Full Release with Mo Mandel.
And Dr. Ashley.
Hanukkah, oh Hanukkah,
Come listen to our podcast.
We are doing a Hanukkah episode.
We're doing a so many things episode. This is
That's
our
true.
holiday episode.
This is our welcome back episode.
Welcome back again.
I feel like every one of our episodes is like, sorry, we've been gone, but this time we have a good excuse.
We have a really good excuse.
Well,
You're like just saying that's what we always say.
Do we actually have an excuse?
No, we don't have an excuse.
We have no excuse.
But I think there's something else that's going on here, which is really the most exciting thing.
Aside from us being in our Hanukkah outfits.
Oh yeah, so guys,
with a menorah behind us.
if you're
more
listening,
exciting than that.
if you're listening,
You could be watching.
you could be watching.
You could see I'm in a beautiful Hanukkah suit, and Ashley's in a gorgeous, very, very expensive, very pricey, furry, fuzzy little Hanukkah dress.
Yeah, that I got at Target 3 years ago.
This dress she was
Yes.
wearing actually one of our original great dates.
Yeah. I mean, it was like 2 months into our dating, and I took you to my work holiday party.
What a ballsy
we moved
move.
Fast.
Yeah.
We moved fast with our relationship.
But that's
Like,
a ballsy move for within 2 months. You take me to your work holiday party,
Yeah.
and you do it in a crazy Hanukkah dress.
I know. And that was like the year I moved to Portland, and I hadn't really sussed out how many Jews were around here, like.
Yeah, you could.
And
You
I
could
was a
have
little bit
exposed
timid.
yourself a bit.
Yeah. But why don't we get to the meat of what's exciting though?
Oh, that's right.
So
Well, let's back up so people understand what's going on. There is something known as the coronavirus that is not just in America; it's all over the place.
all right, that's enough.
And I just want to catch up. If any of our listeners have woken up from a coma.
Yeah, right. No, so anyway, cut to the chase. I got my COVID vaccine actually
Boom.
just about an hour ago.
That's
And
right.
And it's Sunday night, December 20th. I am alive.
Thankfully.
And yeah, and since I am a frontline healthcare worker who has to see patients in the emergency room, do surgeries, etc. I was, on the list.
And she still has the Band-Aid. That's how fresh this is, right here.
It's under here.
Beneath this Hanukkah dress
Yeah, I
is the Band-Aid.
I almost built a Band-Aid window so you would know.
So did you have any nervousness about getting the vaccine? I know you're a big anti-vaxxer.
I'm not an anti-vaxxer, okay? Like, that's just a lie. I am very pro-vaxxer. I'm a vaxxer.
You're pro-vax.
I'm pro-vax, yes. In fact, that's my middle name, pro-vax.
But did you have any, because it came out fast, right? I mean, this vaccine is faster than normal.
Right, but here's the thing. It's the reason why it will take vaccines a long time to come out is because you have to have a large enough sample size of people in a clinical trial to demonstrate its efficacy, right? So if you don't have a very high rate of people getting an infection in the population, then it takes a very long time to aggregate the information that you need from the clinical trial.
And this is the story of Hanukkah.
And then the trial lasted
And
8
what does this have to do with the
nights.
Maccabees? This is what I'm confused about.
All right, you're confusing our listeners.
So you had no fear of it, basically.
Well, the point being that this vaccine has been tested as robustly as many vaccines that take, 5-10 times as long to develop because so many people have come down with COVID, right? So they did these very large clinical trials, and it was just that so many people were getting and exposed
it's
to
almost
COVID that they...
A weird silver lining of it being so widespread is that it allowed for the vaccine to come out faster because there's such an enormous amount of people is what you're saying.
Yeah, basically.
How much better do you feel you are now than the rest of us, myself included, who don't have the vaccine?
Like when I first got it, as the medication went into my arm, I felt powerful.
Did you feel like
felt
when you see
stronger.
like when the mutants become mutants or something like that, or the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers become Power Rangers? Is that what you felt when the vaccine entered your bloodstream?
I felt, like the main video game I played growing up was Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sure.
And he would jump on this box and then he would get this little like shield.
Like the star thing when he would like
oh, well, yeah, that's actually better than the one I was thinking of. But yeah, the star one, it would be like, do.
Yeah, and you have like invincibility.
Like faster, and he has all the things like running around him.
Yeah.
Right. And he's just like all the bad guys like are like melting.
So as soon as you got the vaccine, did you just like, oh, you just like punched an orderly and like smack? Did you run through the wall of the hospital and there was just like a silhouette of your body in the door?
Yes, that is. It is. Yeah. And then I like my car was on the 3rd level of the parking garage and I just like jumped up. Like instead of taking the stairs, I was just like jumped up 3
Yeah, I feel
flights.
like I'm basically married now to Wonder Woman, essentially.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. In fact, actually,
this would be the nerdiest origin story. This would actually be a good origin story. If, like, say the vaccine was rushed out and it wasn't safe. I mean, I know it is and it wasn't rushed. But say it was, and then someone got a vaccine, and then, like, I don't know.
Instead of giving them autism, it gave them superpowers.
Right. Like, this is like in the anti-vaxxer kind of mythology.
And let's be clear that, like, vaccines don't cause autism. Okay, that's like bad data. A lot
autism
of
is
like
caused
a lot of myths
by French films.
No, okay.
And
this is a medically accurate podcast where we don't
Cocoa
say
Puffs
things that are wrong
8.
like
no?
that. No,
okay.
None of those
I'm
things.
Mistaken.
Yeah,
I'm mistaken.
Yeah. All right. Very good. But yeah. So anyway, you guys are experiencing, what it's like to see somebody who just received their COVID vaccine, right? Like in real time. I don't have a headache. I don't have a flu. My arm doesn't hurt.
Nope.
I don't have a fever. I'm not having an allergic reaction. I don't have a rash all over my body.
Right.
Like I'm not.
Now, people at home.
I mean, I don't know. Bill Gates might know where I am right now. We can't really tell, but that's
he's a fan
joke.
of the podcast.
Right.
So if people at home were to get a vaccine, would they all of a sudden magically be in a Hanukkah dress? Does that just magically happen?
This is a side effect.
Okay.
Of the COVID vaccine is
it's
the
a healthy
dress.
vaccine. It's something you should take. It will cause you to all of a sudden be in a Hanukkah outfit and do a podcast with your husband, who will also be in a Hanukkah outfit, even though he didn't get the vaccine.
No,
so
but
that's just a minor side effect, and I think it's livable.
But seriously, folks, you should definitely, when you have the opportunity to get that vaccine, please get vaccinated, right? Over 90% efficacy. That's so exciting, right?
Yeah, well, it's not exciting for us because we can't get one, babe. You're just like, bragging now that you have like this awesome thing. It's like me going up to like a homeless guy in a tent and be like, dude, you got to try a house. It's so much better.
No, that's not. Shut up. The vaccine is going to be made available to you in the coming months.
I know. I just feel like I'm like a second-class citizen right now, and all you fancy vaccines.
Well, guess what? Every day when I have had to go into the hospital for the last 9 months, and you've been able to stay in the safety of your joke box,
napping a lot, frequent naps,
doing jokes over videos.
Yeah.
You know, how do you think I felt? How do you think I felt about that? Okay.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah, yeah. This is like, when people want to pony up and respect their healthcare workers. This is how.
Remember when like COVID just started and like people were like banging pots and pans at like 7 o'clock?
Yeah, that was nice.
That was nice. But now you guys actually get some real stuff. You get some vaccines, which is cool.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, what else we got besides the vaccine? We're going to get into some Hanukkah. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, everybody. We're not as consistent as we want to be with the podcast, but we'll try to be more consistent. We got this new background.
That's our 2021 resolution.
Yeah, I think it was our 2019, 2020 resolution, but it's all of them.
2019, we were hella regular.
Yeah, you're right. We were
so regular.
It was like our podcast was eating fiber.
Yeah.
Hey, we still got it.
Oh, you and I.
Yeah, we both made the same lame joke at the same time. But we got a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
Ashley's got a big Hanukkah plan though for right now, right? Don't we have some Hanukkah stuff we're going to dive into?
We have a bunch of topics to talk about. Should I drive right in?
Jive right in, but give them the question first, the number. You guys can always email us your questions at thefullreleasepod@gmail.com.
Yes. And you can call us. We love your questions.
We love them.
We love them in voicemail format, particularly.
Yeah, that's the thing. You just leave a voicemail. It's anonymous.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of things with my hands.
Yeah.
You just leave a voicemail.
You can also record a voicemail as an audio file and email it to
That's also your prerogative.
at gmail.com. And then our phone number is 213-631-3460. That's 213-631. 3460. Good job.
3460. Oh, and our final plug, For any of you who like podcasts a little bit more caustic, a little bit more abrasive,
yeah.
I have a new podcast that I started with a buddy of mine, and it's called Jews Control the Media.
Now that's a play.
It's a play on basically we're reclaiming this, me and another Jewish comic, and it's called Jews Control the Media, and we go through and, attack anti-Semites in the news. We talk about pop culture, and we roast even occasionally Jews themselves. So it's basically the world through a Jewy perspective. You can watch that on Jews Control the Media podcast on YouTube and on iTunes and everything like that. With that said, Ashley is now going to take off her Hanukkah dress.
That's not what I'm doing.
No,
It's
she's
not happening.
That's not? Okay. So I'm
No.
sorry. So then what are we going into?
Wow. This is how desperate you are to get people to watch?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, Mo is going to take off his Hanukkah dress shirt.
I might.
Do it now.
No, I don't want to do it right now because I just did my hair
now.
looks good. If I take it off, it's going to miss my hair. I like my hair.
You look very good under there.
Okay.
And our audience would like to see it.
Please stop petting me on the podcast. This is really inappropriate, all right? This is not OnlyFans. Let's go.
All right.
What do we got?
So this is a sex health and relationship podcast, and this is our holiday episode. And also the received my COVID vaccine an hour ago episode. And so I just thought I would, start off with some clickbait. So the first article I found that was really, really consistent with that was the 8 rules of Hanukkah sex.
The 8 rules of Hanukkah sex. Now, it's past Hanukkah. Now, do you think will these also work for Christmas? Because I want this to be an overall holiday podcast. We don't have any Christmas decorations.
We have Christmas topics coming up.
Oh, we do? Okay. So fair enough.
Okay, and this is from the very illustrious periodical HuffPost.
Right. I know a lot about Hanukkah
and it's
sex.
very up to date because it's from 2012. So
okay. So some of these functions might no longer work.
Well,
but Hanukkah hasn't changed a lot since 2012. I mean, it's pretty much been the same thing.
But there's COVID now. So.
Okay, right, yeah.
Okay, so what would you think some Hanukkah sex rules would be?
Sex rules? I think it's like you have to do
rules.
8 different positions because there's 8 nights of Hanukkah, so you have to have sex 8 nights in a row. Intimidating enough, but you have to do a different position each night. That would be my guess.
That would be a rule.
Yeah. Am I close?
One other rule, what would that be?
One other rule?
Yeah, I know.
You have to use a dreidel as a butt plug.
Can I just say that is a terrible suggestion?
I'm not saying it's a good rule.
It doesn't have a flange, so you could get it stuck.
All right, so don't use a dreidel as a butt plug, okay? Don't do that.
Or you could, maybe somebody should invest in making
dreidel-shaped butt
dreidel-shaped actual butt plugs with flanges on them, so you don't.
That is our idea, by the way. If anyone's thinking about marketing that is our idea. So you cannot have that. That is ours.
Yeah, we have already gone in copyright.
We're in the early stages. We have some promising investments.
All right. So here's the countdown. Number 1 is use your menorah to produce some romantic mood lighting. Oh, yeah. See, we have an electric menorah in here.
Oh, look at this mood lighting.
This is pretty romantic.
Okay, it is.
But, if it was a real if these were real candles, it would be far more
No, I agree. Menorah naturally becomes mood lighting. We have candles.
When we were lighting our menorah together, I would feel overwhelmed with
lust,
romance towards myself.
Right. What?
When I was.
Right.
All right. Next is always have sex before you make the latkes.
Because latkes are potato pancakes. So because you'll be full, you'll be kind of swollen. Is that what that is?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's that. I think it's you don't want to have a heavy, greasy meal.
I kind of like the idea of taking that latke grease and just greasing up with it, though. Just making it a real greasy, nasty affair.
Well, maybe, yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess it goes for how, acrobatic or how
wild you want to get.
How cardiovascularly, excessive.
Latkes are also a great post-sex food. They're greasy. They're kind of crunchy. You really get in there,
I think it would be kind of nice to have some day-old latkes. Laying at the bedside when you're done with sex. You would roll over and grab it and just
or just cover the sheets with them.
We don't smoke.
No.
So, but it seems like that's something you would do instead.
Right. Okay. I like that.
Okay.
Mood lighting, latke. Eat
Okay.
them during sex. Got it.
Okay. Play strip, spin the dreidel. That's number 3.
Okay. That kind of reminds me. I remember I once found these dice in my parents' closet, sex dice, and they had different sex things you're supposed to do. And
really?
Yeah. It was gross. But I could see how you could also do that with a dreidel.
In college, we played so many strip games that were not traditional strip games. And I'm trying to think of
Traditional. What is a traditional strip game?
Like strip poker.
All right, sure.
Right.
But that's like the only one. But there's not like strip Monopoly
but
or
like
something.
we definitely played all these other games. Like we would just play like, oh well, let's just strip and play this.
Right.
And I forget what it was, but like there was some because I don't even know how to play poker, but I was at some party and we were like playing
They
some
must have
game.
loved to invite you over for strip poker.
No,
you were naked after the third hand.
No, because I would never play that because I didn't know how to play.
Okay.
And I forget what we were playing, but it was like really stupid and not meant to be a strip game. And it was like me with like 5 of my guy friends, and at the end they were all in their underwear and I was wearing all my clothes. It was hilarious.
Yeah, that seems to be a lot how strip poker would work in my memory too. It wasn't really. Somehow it didn't ever work out quite as you expected. Did I ever tell you that? I think it was the first night of Hanukkah. I once woke up and went to my parents' room and they were like lying on top of each other. I don't know if they were having sex or just snuggling or whatever, but anyway, it kind of scarred me a little bit. And I always used to kind of be a little bit freaked out about the first night of Hanukkah ever since then. Yeah.
You never
like
told me
one of my
that.
earliest memories.
Wow.
Or at least of that kind of a thing.
Wow. Wow. All right.
Yeah. It was a lot.
I don't know what to say about
I don't think
that.
they were playing sex dreidel, but they were doing something
All
and it
right.
was physical.
Okay.
And there was latkes everywhere.
Really?
No.
Oh.
Okay.
All right. Number 4, use oil in bed, but they say non-cooking oil, to give your partner a massage.
Ooh.
They say the oil probably won't last for 8 days, but it will still be good holiday
Actually, in my experience, that
fun.
massage oil is very hard to get off, so it might last for 8 days.
I don't know if I've ever had.
Here's the problem. I mean, sometimes you go to the masseuse and you ask him to do the oil, and it feels great, but then like your feet and your legs and your back have like oil on it for like the rest of the
You
year.
just have to go shower after.
No,
that.
because it doesn't just come off. It's oil.
Okay,
It's
well,
greasy.
you know what? Here's the problem. It's because you're so hairy.
Maybe that's
Like
it.
when I go to a massage and they put the oil on me,
It
like
just
I
comes
should
right
shower.
off. Just one swoop of a Kleenex and it's all off.
Right, but you are like a carpet.
Yeah, thank you.
And so it's like if you spill the oil
Okay,
on
I
a
get it.
carpet-
We all get where it's going.
I mean,
yeah,
it's
I'm a
just-
hairy Jew. I get it. Jews control the media podcast.
All right.
Hairy Jew.
Thank you. All right. And for people who don't know, right, like with Hanukkah, the story of Hanukkah, there's this whole thing that basically, you know, they had this ceremonial lamp that needed to be lit and they only had enough oil for one night and it lasted for 8 nights. And that was part of like a miracle. So this is kind of
it's
why
kind of
they
a
were
low.
saying.
It was a low level miracle, if we're being honest. Let's look at the other biblical. I mean, first of all, Hanukkah's not in the Bible.
I think it's really like foreshadowing, you know, energy efficiency.
Sustainability. That's true.
Yeah.
But if you think about the other great miracles, parting the Red Sea, or Jesus coming back from the dead.
well,
I
that's
mean,
not a Jewish
those
thing.
are all, well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, that's a big one. Those are all big miracles. And then it's like, you know, a guy living in a whale. You know, that's a big one. And then to be like, no, this oil really lasted.
So
I mean,
if
it's
you
just
could
not
have-
as.
so could
It's
you-
just.
So if you could have oil for 8 days or live inside of a whale, which would you
I mean, me personally, I would rather. I mean, it depends. Am I getting bitten? Am I getting eaten by a whale
I
at
don't
that
know.
time?
How did he describe the experience?
Well, I mean,
Your nephew's named Jonas.
I don't think he's been inside of a whale. I don't know. I have to ask him. I don't know what he gets up to. I don't know him that well.
So the next one is try to find a way to incorporate chocolate gelt into your sex life.
Chocolate gelt is a candy that Jews eat around Hanukkah. It's a chocolate little coins.
Yeah, chocolate coins.
This doesn't do great for our money stereotype, but
No,
they
I
are
didn't-
little delicious chocolate coins. And so try to incorporate that into your sex life. I could see that.
Usually I have some of those on Hanukkah, and we didn't have any this year.
I know,
And we're
I know.
big chocolate fans.
We are.
I don't know how we missed that.
But I'll tell you, if you get the oil on your bed and you got the latke on your bed and then you got the chocolate coins on your bed, this bed's going to be fucked up. It sounds like you're going to have to go to a hotel to do some of this. You don't want to do this to your own bed.
You're going to like some of these.
Okay,
next
keep
ones.
going.
Okay. Give your partner a gift each night.
Okay.
We gave each other a bunch of gifts.
Oh yeah, a lot. I think,
that-
yeah, we were good at gifts. We got good gifts this year. I think.
That was fun.
I do think so.
This was our first like married
Yeah,
holiday
It was
season.
our first married holiday season.
It was great.
It was very good.
I know.
Yeah, we still got Christmas coming up.
Well, we don't have, but we have. That
I'm gonna
for
get
other
you
people.
a big tree.
I don't think you get it for Christmas.
I'm gonna
I
get
think
you
you
a-
get a tree
I'm
before.
gonna
Christmas.
wrap up a big tree and give it to you as a present to use for next Christmas.
That's not
Is
how
that
that
how
works
Christmas
either.
works?
Well, you could get me like a synthetic one.
No, I'm gonna get
Yeah,
you.
just give me some-
Okay,
I mean, we're here in Oregon, which is like the
Christmas tree
the
capital.
land of Christmas trees. Like,
Yeah.
for folks who have never been to Oregon before, it's like get out of the airport and you're just like, oh, this is Christmas trees.
I do think it's cool. One thing I like that we did, we stole a little bit from the Christmas tree thing, is we kept the gifts out to sea, for a few days before we got to have them. I think that's always what's nice about Christmas. You got like the gifts under the tree, so it kind of gets you amped up, wondering what's in them and stuff.
Growing up, we always did that. Like I
liked it. It's kind of cultural appropriation from Christmas, which a lot of Hanukkah is, but that's here I was thinking this is kind of funny. Something we were talking about the Jews control the media is people say Hanukkah is cultural appropriation of Christmas. Christianity's kind of cultural appropriation of Judaism, if you really look at the timeline there.
Well, all monotheistic religions have overlap, but
right. But I still think it's a good. That's a different podcast. Anyway.
Yeah. That's a different podcast. All right.
That's a different podcast.
All right. If you're having sex for one, that means masturbation. They just didn't say that in Huffington
What a fancy way to say it.
I know. That's just
sex for one?
I don't know.
I'll have sex for one, please. Thank you.
Because like in these, kitschy lifestyle magazines online, they just can't say the word masturbating.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because
bizarre.
it's like fine and masturbation is normal and everybody does it, but we have to say sex for one because it's just
I'll take a bubble bath and sex for one, please. Thank you. Okay. So if you're masturbating or sex for one in yourself,
make sure to get some fantasy inspiration from the 2013 Nice Jewish Guys calendar.
So
Babe,
for people watching, no, I was not. But
that?
for people listening or watching, it doesn't have to be from the 2013 calendar. This is just the article she's reading. I think any sexiest Jewish guy calendar will do.
Wait, I didn't even know this was a thing.
Oh yeah, they have them each year.
Nice
actually,
Jewish Guys calendar. Oh, I'm excited.
It's not as exciting. I've actually seen this one. We were looking at for other podcasts.
Oh, this is not good at all.
No, I know. It's. I've actually talked about this on our podcast.
I thought it was going to be like really hot guys.
No, they're not. They're just guys that look like your cousin.
These are actually just nice guys.
Yeah, it's not really a great representation of handsome Jewish guys. I got to be honest. Yeah.
Jared.
Yeah, Jared's not really bringing it. No offense, Jared.
Okay, well, fine. And then the last one is. This is kind of similar to what we were saying, but with latkes. Instead of smoking a postcoital cigarette, eat a postcoital jelly donut because jelly donuts are another traditional Hanukkah food.
That's a weird thing. We didn't have that when I was a kid, really, but that I guess is a part of it. Like anything with oil, and so because the jelly donuts have a lot of oil in them, that I don't really understand the jelly component. Like, why isn't it just any donut?
I don't know. It's just jelly
but it's
donuts.
More fun.
That's what it is.
It's just more fun. So jelly donuts.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got Hanukkah.
This is kind of actually your way. Like after you and I have relations, aka sex for two, you'll be like satisfied and be like, okay, I have to eat ice cream.
Yeah.
You immediately need sweets.
Because for me, with junk food or eating in general, if I ever feel good or bad, I want to eat ice cream or something. Like it's celebrate or console myself. It used to be alcohol, now it's just fat food.
But like on our wedding night, you weren't like you didn't take like the
I ate
extra cake.
Giant piece of cake.
Yeah, but you didn't take like the extra cake back to like our
room.
Our room.
Well, because I had to get up to other stuff. I had to just make love to you for hours until the sun came up.
But I would have figured that.
Isn't that how you remember our wedding night?
After our wedding night sensuality, that you would have pulled like an entire cake out from under the bed.
That's actually true. In retrospect, I'm surprised. I should have probably done that. Yeah.
Yeah. Just think about how more special.
It would have been so much more special. Yeah. I would have gotten it all over the bed. They would have sued us probably for the room. Yeah. Should have done it.
All right. So
let's move on to some questions. Okay. Yeah. What are some of the? Let's do a question.
Yeah, we're gonna do a question. Okay. Right. So, guys, again, I am a urologist and sexual medicine doctor.
Don't let this Hanukkah dress fool you.
Yeah.
She is a board-certified surgeon.
That's true.
And don't let my Hanukkah outfit fool you. I am
a board-certified
stand-up comedian.
Yeah,
even though you're not allowed to do that anymore in 2020.
Stand-up comedy is like not even licensed.
It's fucked up now. I did a show for Hillel the other day over Zoom.
Was it Hillel?
It was fun. But it's like Zoom shows. It's just like, it's not that fun to be it doesn't feel good as a performer somehow. Anyway.
Yeah.
I digress.
You digress.
So somebody sent us this question, right? This is one of our listeners.
Okay. So this is an email titled Sex Cystitis. And cystitis is like bladder inflation. Oh.
Yeah.
Were you excited?
I got excited for a second. Okay. Yes.
All right. So, love you and the podcast ever since I first heard Mo on the Self-Helpless podcast.
Ooh, great podcast.
Oh,
great gals.
Yeah, you were on their podcast a while
back. I was a long time ago. Good. Yeah, great gals.
Yeah. All right. I have a question for Dr. Ashley. It's never for you. But.
It's never for me. No one's ever like, how does he do it? How do you come up with those jokes? And that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
I have a question for Dr. Ashley. I am a 26-year-old female with a big problem that my doctors can't diagnose. Resuming only this year, I've had a urinary infection, she put in quotes, 8 times, each time treated with antibiotics. But only once did it actually show up as a urinary infection with bacteria. And what she's probably referring to is like a lot of times people will be treated for UTI just based on symptoms. But if you go and drop off a sample of your urine, then they can like culture it, see what bacteria they're in. And there are times when people come in and are like, hands down, I swear I have a UTI. It feels like I have a UTI, but you culture it and nothing grows.
And is that because it's like a flaw of the test, or is that...
No, it's because people can have UTI symptoms without
but not
having
actually
a UTI.
I gotcha.
Right,
Gotcha.
exactly. So, anyway, so she was basically saying that she had, all these times where she had the symptoms of a UTI, was given antibiotics, but only like 1 out of those 8 times did the test actually show bacteria.
It must be very frustrating as a medical professional and as a patient too, when something that the symptoms don't match the test results, because as a patient, you want to just like, well, keep testing, figure it out, find it, because, a lot of times it turns out the patient's right and there was something wrong. But then I'm sure a lot of other times the patient's wrong and the doctor just has to you probably have to just convince them
yeah,
that's not what you have.
No, this is a huge discussion, especially with this exact problem, because I see this all the time. There are people who come in with recurrent UTI-like symptoms and, burning, pain when I urinate, having to urinate frequently, discomfort as a bladder fill, all this stuff, right? But then their culture isn't showing any bacteria, right? And so the difficulty is to say, even if I don't think that you're getting bacterial infections, it doesn't mean I don't think that you're having very legitimate symptoms and that you don't feel like crap, because I do believe and know and validate that you have all those symptoms. It's just a question of, pursuing a treatment that's going to be effective. Right. So because people just want to hear like, yes, you have it.
Well, because the last thing they want to hear is like, oh, fuck, now we're going to have to run a bunch of different tests and look at other stuff. Like a UTI, as much as it sucks, at least it's generally like a simple thing. You know what it is, here's how you get rid of it. So it's kind of scary if suddenly they're like, oh, no, it could be something more complex.
No, for sure. But the difficulty, right, is that antibiotics are not like a totally... it's not that like there's no risk associated with antibiotics, right? Like you can get dangerous infections from taking too many antibiotics.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, like there's this horrible infection called C. diff, and that's basically where if you're taking antibiotics for too long, it kills all the healthy bacteria in your intestines.
Right.
And then
I've
you
heard
get
of that.
over and then so this one bad bacteria like takes over and fills your whole colon, basically.
I used to know this person whose parents were doctors, and they would give them antibiotics all the time. Like any kind of sniffles they had, their parents would immediately give them antibiotics. And I always really kind of thought like, you probably should save that for when you definitely need it.
Yeah.
But I was super jealous because there's nothing worse than when you're sick and you're like, fuck, and I was just going to turn into the thing. I mean, it would be nice just to be able to zap that shit.
But most, right, like especially most childhood illnesses are caused by like viruses, and viruses don't get treated with antibiotics, right? Antibiotics treat bacteria.
Right. Oh,
and
that's
antivirals
true.
treat viruses. So like a typical common cold is caused by a virus. So like giving somebody antibiotics isn't going to make their common cold go away.
That's right. I always kind of forget that. I feel like antibiotics are just like a kill-all, but they're not.
Right. It's just like, oh, you don't feel well, antibiotics will cure it. Well, it's actually like, no.
It's like no, you have to do magic to cure that. You need to go to a warlock. That's the only way. No, because that's a fucked up thing with like colds and shit. Antibiotics can't cure them, and then like nothing can cure them.
Right.
That's what's so disappointing.
Yeah. It is.
You doctors got to fucking step your shit up.
All right. Well, maybe.
How are we able to cure coronavirus, but we can't even cure a cold?
Because the common cold is one of about 50 different things.
Well, cure all of them. You guys have had a lot of years to do this. I'm just saying.
This is all right.
We're holding up our end of the bargain.
You guys become funnier.
No, I've been trying. It's impossible.
But anyway, so let's circle back to this question.
Okay.
So we're not even done reading it. So she was saying, symptoms of urinary infection 8 times. Only 1 time did it grow bacteria. He was given antibiotics. The long story short, my gynecologist couldn't find a problem, and my urologist was very confused as to how to help me, because even the cystoscopy, which is, where you look in somebody's bladder with a camera, it's like a colonoscopy of the bladder.
Right. You're just kind of getting up like this.
Yeah, right.
You put on a little miner's helmet and you just get in there.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Bathing suit, swimmies. Showed nothing wrong. I had a CT scan on my kidneys, and that was fine also. So, why would we do some of these things, right? So it's like, if somebody is coming in with recurrent infections or recurrent not infections, but symptoms of an infection or blood in their urine, right? You want to make sure that they don't have certain things that could be a cause, like a whole bunch of kidney stones, right? Because those could have bacteria in them. They don't have like a fistula, right? Like an abnormal connection between their intestines and their bladder that's allowing bacteria to get from one to the other. So all these are exciting things. And then, then you look in somebody's bladder, cystoscopy, to make sure that you don't have a foreign body in there or something else going on. Right?
Yeah, you don't want to have a foreign body inside of yourself. That means what, like a ghost has been sort of assaulting you in your sleep? Is that what that means?
Yeah, when you have a ghost in your
foreign
bladder,
body, like a Russian ghost, has been
God.
sort of coming in and making love to you in the night.
like Russian doll.
Yeah.
Like there's just like that woman and all her inner women are in your bladder.
Oh, you're talking about the little doll where there's like a little
Yeah.
one. Yeah, those things are kind of creepy, but I like them. Yeah.
Yeah, who doesn't like them?
Anyway, okay. So,
but yeah, so and you'll see. I mean, there are people who are getting infections, and it turns out they had a big stone in their bladder, or they had put something up their urethra and it got stuck there, and that was causing infections.
You don't want to do that. No.
Oh my, yeah. So various things. So it sounds like she had all this evaluation and they didn't find anything, right? Anyway, so then she writes, the pain starts very suddenly and it's very intense, and I feel the need to urinate constantly. I am even scared to have sex. Now, as one of the doctors suggested, that I may have quote unquote sex cystitis. And I really enjoy sex. Want to hear your opinion. So, very interesting. Well,
sounds like a fucking bummer.
My husband, what do you think is going on?
I mean, if it's not the Russian ghost, I'm sort of at a loss. I don't know, but that sounds really horrible. Having to pee all the time. I kind of know what that's like. It sucks.
He does pee all the time.
So I don't know. What do you think's going on? She did ask you.
I know, but I always like to ask
It's not
you,
really
even
fair
though
for you to ask me, because I'm like, I'm an idiot. I don't know. None of it sounds fun.
All right. No, so it could be that one time or maybe another time she truly had an infection. But there could be other things going on. So like, I think we've talked about some of these topics before, but for example, a condition known as Vestibulodynia, okay, which is basically where the entryway to your vagina, which is called the vestibule, and that's also the area where your urethra lives in a woman, right? Can have this inflamed, painful condition where basically if the area is stimulated and it's too dry, for example, it can become like kind of irritated, torn, basically cause all the symptoms of a UTI, right? And so you can feel like, pain, burning when you pee, have to pee frequently, whatever. And it's not actually that you have a bladder infection, but it could be that you have this like inflamed, irritated tissue near the opening of your bladder. So that's one option. And we've talked about this before, but like that could be caused by somebody being on hormonal contraceptive, like the oral birth control pill. Again, I'm a big fan of contraceptives, just, some people can have side effects from them, right? So being on a hormonal contraceptive can lower or does lower your hormone levels, which can make that tissue more susceptible to irritation.
So how does somebody like her have to go about discover? I mean, is it sort of like when you have an allergy to something, you have to just sort of test all the different things that it possibly could be?
No, that's a great question. So you have to go to somebody who's going to do a robust evaluation for this, right? And this is a problem that you see with women a lot, is that, they come in and they say it hurts down there, and somebody checks them for a UTI. And if they don't have a UTI, then they're told, oh, there's nothing wrong, right? But that doesn't get rid of the fact that they have the symptoms that they have, right? So you have to make sure that you're going and seeing somebody who's going to evaluate you for pelvic pain, for bladder pain conditions, for, inflammation, for vestibulodynia, for pelvic floor.
You got to be like one of
We've
those
talked
race
about.
cars where they come around like there's like 50 different gals checking them out and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, that's
Exactly
I
like
mean,
that. Right.
yeah.
Exactly like that.
No.
So 100% like what I said.
I mean, that would be really cool if there was a doctor's office where
That'd
you
be
did
great.
like
I mean, that's what it'll be in the
really
future.
fast.
You can go in there, they could just clean your teeth. Will they give you a colonoscopy? Will they do this? I mean, that's what it should be.
No, I mean, in the future, it'll basically be a computer program will just figure out everything.
Yeah.
And like, I will be out of a job. But so will everybody, right? I mean,
Yeah.
basically
humans
everybody.
probably won't be around at that point. It'll just be like robots checking each other out.
I mean, we're just terribly inefficient beings. So like, why would we continue to exist?
We won't.
Except for Hanukkah. That was very efficient.
Hanukkah's the only thing we do well. Was that what you were saying?
No, I
Look,
just
if the
saying
oil
Hanukkah
can last
was-
for 8 days, humanity can make it a few more years.
I don't know. But yeah, so I think, I'm sure that you have a really great gynecologist. I'm sure you have a really good urologist, but maybe ask them, do I maybe have something called vestibulodynia? Do I have a pelvic floor exam? Have you evaluated me for other potential genital pain conditions or inflammatory bladder conditions? And kind of open that more broadly. And, even if they're excellent and they don't specialize in these sort of things, you might want to get a second opinion, which is totally fine. And really look up a specialist for somebody with pelvic pain. And I think that would be helpful, especially if you have so many of your cultures coming back without bacteria in them. So,
Well,
yeah.
Solid answer.
Thank you. Oh, another thing I would like to say is, and I think that this is, kind of just out there, but also potentially if you haven't been tested for herpes, to get tested for herpes too, because that can cause.
Yeah, to hit her with that one.
Well, no, because it's very common in the population and it can affect your bladder. And there are people who get painful bladder, and it might be that they have a flare up of their herpes, and herpes would not show up on a urine culture because it's a virus and not a bacteria.
Wow.
So that's also something to consider.
That's I did not expect you to say that. But
Yeah,
I guess that
I know.
kinda
I
makes
was just
sense.
thinking
If it's
about
like
that.
if she's having pain, yeah, maybe it'd be lesions and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So,
you can. I've even had a guy once. I scoped him, and on his cystoscopy, there was herpes in there.
Talking about scoping another guy right in front of me. Jesus.
All right. Well, you made a girl laugh.
Unbelievable.
Some point. Not
All right,
recently.
what else we got?
All right. Should we be more like sciencey or more fun?
I think that was pretty sciencey. Why don't we do some fun?
Okay. So, what is like the most classic when you think of holiday movies?
Mm-hmm.
What's the most classic like scene from a holiday movie?
I guess I think of like Home Alone, where there's like all the Christmas decorations and stuff or whatever.
Okay. Well, pick another one.
Okay. You didn't like that answer? Okay.
I mean, I like that.
I
but-
picture like New York, like people running around New York, and there's lights and it's
All right.
snowy and
Pick
stuff.
one.
Okay,
with
which one do you want me to
kids.
pick?
Pick one with kids.
Okay.
Read my mind.
Which one do I want you to pick? I don't really know a lot of Christmassy movies.
All right. Well,
Just
like
fucking
the
tell me
movie
the topic.
where the kid licks the thing.
This is like what comedians do when they're trying to like do their act. Like they just want to tell their joke and they're like, anyways, at the mall. Has anyone ever been to a shoe store? No one's been to, does anyone? All right, well, here's a pre-written joke I have about shoes that I was just going to tell anyway, but I was trying to transition to it. Okay, Beethoven.
No, remember the movie Christmas Story where the kid licks the pole?
No, I don't know.
What?
I don't
What?
know.
How do you not?
I don't know if is that the one with Tiny
This
Tim?
is like you're crazy.
Tiny
this
Tim?
is we have to like no.
Scrooge?
This is like the most famous like scene of like Christmas movies. Is this movie Christmas Story?
I've never seen
And the
this.
kid like licks the pole, and it's like the winter time, and his tongue gets frozen to the pole.
Yeah, I mean that kind of happened to me on a ski lift one time.
No, it did not.
Yeah.
You really did that?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But
Of course you did. I don't believe you.
I did. I mean, it came off, but it hurt. Yeah.
Wow. That's
I've always been scared of licking ski poles.
wow.
Ski
You
lifts.
lived that dumb scene. That's what you did. I can't believe you didn't know that. Well, anyway, moving on.
Right.
So that made me think of what other body parts do people get like frozen?
Oh, that's
And
interesting. That's good. That's good.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
This
and
is
then,
a crazily long transition. But I think it was worth it. This segue. Okay, good. Longest
well, that was just
segue ever,
because
but
you
interesting.
didn't know the scene.
Okay.
Anyway, so I'm sure all
I just love how you expected me to remember or guess the exact scene that you were looking at out of 1,000 holiday movies that have been made. So, okay.
All right.
That seemed unrealistic.
So anyway, so I was thinking, we do a genital advice podcast, and are people ever trying to freeze their genitals?
Like as a prank or something?
No,
Or like if they
like
if
for
they
any
think they're going to
reason.
die and they want their genitals to be alive in the future, so they have their genitals frozen?
Oh, like instead of like cryopreserving your whole body,
just
like you
cryogenically freezing their vaginas and stuff?
freeze your like scrotum.
Yeah.
If you could preserve your penis or your scrotum, but only one.
I mean, my penis, for sure, right?
But your scrotum would have your sperm in it.
Oh.
So think about it, like maybe 500
But
years from
I
now,
would
you could have
rather,
a bunch
if
of,
I'm
like,
going to be alive, I
moles.
want a penis over just having a scrotum. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
but you would never come back to life because the only
this
thing
you're
that
saying
would have
after
been
I
saved,
die, which one
yeah,
would
the only thing that would be
I don't know. I
saved.
don't really think I give a shit at that point. I don't really care at that point. That's somebody else's problem.
All right, okay. So anyway,
Good question, though. Real good question.
I ask that
Yeah,
hard-hitting.
hard-hitting questions.
Yeah,
the ones
I mean,
that we're all wondering
I'm
about.
basically like, I ask the probing things that matter.
Yeah,
like I'm
you do.
Terry Gross.
You really probe in there.
That she would ask a
You
question.
really probe in there.
She would ask a question like that.
Okay, so this
Okay.
is
So anyway, so I found out that there are people who actually go, like, how there are these cryotherapy places
Yeah.
that people do this like thing where they go in like these chambers and they
Tony
freeze
Robbins is a big
themselves.
fan of this. Every morning he does a cryo
Every
chamber.
morning?
I think so. Yeah, he has
I
his
mean,
own
it's just
cryo
like-
chamber.
This is just like, why don't people just jump in like a frozen?
He also has that. He has a frozen dunk tank. He's a big
See, that I get.
believer
That I
in like
understand.
cold shit in the morning.
I mean,
I do a cold spritz in the shower at the end.
really?
Yeah, every
Why?
time. It wakes you up. There is
Oh,
something to
God.
it. There is something to it.
It's horrible. Well, anyway, so so apparently there was a trend of people freezing their genitals to boost their sex lives. So here's a nice photo in the media of some guy who has gone to a cryotherapy joint.
Okay.
And this service where they freeze your genitals is called Love Mist.
Love Mist. I love that it's a service for somebody to freeze your dick. This is you could offer the services of putting your dick on ice for a while. I mean, it's so stupid. What is the idea that it's going to make it like more lively your dick
Yeah.
now? But doesn't that
Okay.
kill all your sperm or something?
No, I mean, it's a terrible idea. I mean,
Okay.
from a medical professional, I do not recommend this in any way. And
How do
there
you
are
decide to
no-
start this business? How do you market this? Like, do you have a dick? Do you want it
Because
to be
here's the-
freezing?
Here's the problem, right? As a medical professional with a license, I am obligated to I'm obligated under my license to only do things that are good for you, right? But people who are not licensed do not have an obligation to do things that are good for you. So by the virtue of the fact that you have a group of people who are not professionals and have less education, they're allowed to do more things and charge you money for it.
Yeah.
Right? Like this
So
is
it's better off not going to medical school and just doing medical stuff.
I feel like the classic analogy with this that gets me so riled up is like medications, right, have to be so extensively tested, their safety, their efficacy, their ingredients, their FDA approval. It's like a huge deal. Yet people are like so against taking medications, right? But supplements have almost no regulation and they're not tested to see if they actually fucking do anything or if they're safe for you to take. So many people are like, oh, I don't want to take another medication, but I'd love for you to tell me a supplement that I can take to fix this problem. And I'm like, okay, just so you know, the rules are so much more lax. So you could be taking this thing, spending a ton of money on it because your
But
insurance
it's from
won't pay for
China.
it.
How
Right.
could it not be good for you?
Nobody
It's
really
ginseng.
knows
It's
what
from China.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, it's crazy. Like there are studies looking right at the ingredients in some different supplements and stuff, and sometimes there's like rat poison in them. and
I'm
like,
sure there's all
this
kinds of crazy shit.
Right.
Or mostly there's probably just nothing in it.
So anyway,
Like
the
nothing.
point,
It doesn't do anything to you.
Right. So it's kind of like the things that are more regulated are generally the things that are like less sexy and appealing. And the things that are less regulated can just make ridiculous claims, right? So like, for example, in this genital, freezing love mist, right?
Yeah,
Like they
this
make
sort of
all these
sexual
claims,
igloo,
right? So
yeah.
they like are like charging, $50. They funnel some ice cold vapor on your penis
Well,
for
maybe
30 minutes.
maybe it turns out Inuit people like
No.
Eskimos are like the best lovers.
No.
Maybe that's where this all came from.
Well, maybe they are, but it's not because of this, because
You
they
don't
don't
think so?
do this. No.
Well, they do it by just being in the snow and like
But-
igloos.
But yeah, so then they're like saying all this dumb stuff, right? They're saying it improves the client's sex drive when the sub-zero temperature covers the skin. The sudden drop in heat stimulates the temperature receptors. Like, yeah, of course it's that doesn't like
Who the fuck
stimulating.
ever wants to have sex when it's cold? Like
Right.
nobody does.
It's also hilarious to me, like when you think of genitals and being freezing cold, don't you just think of shrinkage?
yeah.
Like, you don't
Nothing
think of,
about
like,
it is like
virility.
sexual. Yeah. I never have been like in a snowstorm. Be like, oh, I could fuck right now.
Yeah. And then they said this prompts the brain to transmit messages throughout the body so the blood vessels undergo vasoconstriction. Yeah, that's normal, right? So vasoconstriction is basically like when you are cold, the blood vessels near the surface of your body gets constrict so that the blood is kept closer to your core
Yeah.
so that you maintain your heat. Okay? Does that make sense? Like, you don't want all your blood traveling from the warm center of your body out to your extremities and getting cooled down and coming back to you.
Yeah. I'm
want
just
it to
thinking
kinda
about when I was a
stay.
kid, I used to love this one Playboy I found where all these like hot chicks were like naked in the snow. And I thought it was like, really hot, but also like kind of crazy because like, why the fuck would they be doing that? But now it makes sense. They were just trying to improve their
No,
libidos
no.
and their vaginas and stuff. Yeah, it makes sense.
No.
Naked hot blonde women in the early 90s were onto something with being naked in the snow.
No.
And now we all know that. And that's the
No.
story. That is the story of Hanukkah.
No, it's not.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, so we keep going.
So we're not going to
blah,
do this.
blah, blah.
Me and you are not going to go do this together.
This is anyway, so they have all this like, false claims here. And I can tell you, most certainly that there are absolutely no scientific studies showing that doing love mist on your genitals increases your virility or your sexual
But
experience
it
or
is
your
a good name, Love Mist.
yeah, but
Love
then
Mist sounds like a breath mint for your dick. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to like take a little
oh yeah.
like a little
Like how like in the ads for Axe body spray, like
Yeah.
a guy sprays the Axe on and he's just so manly. It's just like
yeah. It's like if you
It's like
spray
the
a little
Axe
on your
dick
dick,
spray.
it'd be, Love Mist. Well, that's fascinating. There's just so many ways charlatans will take people's money. I mean,
Yeah.
that's like one of the main ways they can do it too. Something for sex drive. Like how many bullshit products are there that are supposed to make you a better lover?
So many.
Yeah, it's like I'd say 90% of the economy is sex products. I love when you go into any like shitty like bodega in New York, you see like tiger claw,
yeah.
African libido supplements.
Yes.
It's just like this little bottle of poison that
Yeah.
some sad people probably buy.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
Myself included.
oh, I can tell you. what's
Yeah.
going on.
I'll take some cigarettes, a beer, and then let me get them sex pills.
Yeah, and
They make it a night.
right, and cigarettes are bad for your penis. Very bad.
Yeah.
Very bad. Like we can go in the ways, but much higher rate of erectile
Not
dysfunction,
good.
Peyronie's
Not good.
disease, lots of vasoconstriction.
It's funny with Peyronie's disease because of you, I know what that is. And Peyronie's is like when people's dicks get bent or whatever, and that's one of your specialties is debending them. But when I was hanging with my buddy the other day, and we were doing our podcast, and we had like one of the mic cords was like bent, and the engineer was like, "Oh, it has Peyronie's," and I was like, I got that." But the other guy didn't get it, and he didn't know what it was, and then we had to explain to him what it is, and he was like
Horrified,
terrified. He was
yeah.
like, "That can happen? You can get
Yeah.
just a bent dick?"
In fact, I
I
think
was like,
for
"Look,
like
if it happens, show your dick to my wife; she'll take care of it."
in fact for like Halloween, I feel like you should when people buy like a banana costume, like those giant ones that are just
A giant
Yeah.
banana.
yeah, but then we should just get that and make it like flesh toned.
I'm not going to do
And
that.
then
You
you
can
can
dress like a
Peyronie's.
giant Peyronie's penis. I'm not going to. No, thank you. I'll dress like you, and I'll fix the giant Peyronie's
Okay.
penis. How we do that?
All right, okay.
right.
And
I
you
like
can just
that.
spend the whole night like taking my little like banana head and like just like
bang, bang. Yeah, I'll do that.
See, you kind of like this
I
idea.
do
don't you?
like it.
Yeah,
I
you're
like
gonna have
it
to
a
wear my
lot. Man,
real.
yeah, I'm gonna have to
my
wait so long. We got to wait a whole year for another chance to try out these Hanukkah sex games.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna have to wait like basically a year for this great Peyronie's Halloween party
Yeah.
we're gonna have.
There you go.
Man.
We could have Christmas in July with Hanukkah
Okay.
Peyronie's.
Well, I guess with COVID, after
Yeah.
2020, we should be able to do whatever the hell we want in 2021. I agree with that.
Well, I think we're just about ready to wrap it up,
I
and
think
I would
so,
just
yeah.
like to say that I feel even better since we started.
We're
Like an
2
hour
hours
more
into you having
my,
the vaccine, and you're feeling great.
I feel even better. In fact, I feel like I was just surrounded with love mist.
Oh,
like
wow.
I would say
That's a big one.
I would say
Like
the
you just
COVID
stuck
vaccine.
and if you can't afford Love Mist, gals, just take a popsicle and jam that at your cooch, right? Is that
No.
that's the poor man's
No.
Love Mist?
You know, this is a funny thing,
No?
though,
Okay.
to tie this all together, actually, right? Because there was this funny thing like floating around the internet that all the urologists were sharing. Because, you know, the first vaccine that has been approved in the US is by Pfizer, right? And that's the one I got. I have some Pfizer in me right now.
Pfizer.
And Pfizer was the one who made Viagra,
Yeah.
right? The little blue pill. So it's just kind of like there was this little like meme that was going around that was like, you know, you trust us with your penis, trust us with your vaccine, or like something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
You know,
that's
it's
a good
pretty
one.
funny. So anyway, that ties it all
I
together.
don't think it's just pretty funny. I think it's fucking hilarious. You urologists, you wild bunch.
Ashley and I would like to thank all of you for listening to our humble podcast. Please subscribe and give us a good rating. Tell all your friends. And don't forget, we are answering all your questions at 213-631-3460 or at thefullreleasepod@gmail.com. .com.